So let's get going. So Flutter is a cross-platform framework, which is also a complete SDK for creating native applications. So Flutter was developed by Google in 2015. It remained as a beta version until it was released in May 2017. It runs on Android, iOS, Windows, macOS, web, and Linux. So Flutter is hugely an open source framework, meaning like it is open to anybody to contribute to it. It holds about over 15,000 packages which were created by the Flutter community. It is also rapidly growing. I mean, as per Flutter version 2.0, which was released on the 3rd of March, there were some big dogs involved who contributed a lot to the framework, which was Linux, Ubuntu, and Microsoft. So they did that so that Flutter could smoothly integrate with their platforms. So something about Flutter as well, it is fast, meaning it doesn't use JavaScript bridge to access OEM widgets. We'll talk more about that later. Obviously, this allows like smooth animations, also has an impact on the user experience. Now, widgets. So widgets are like core components of Flutter, meaning everything that is built in Flutter has to be in a widget. They kind of hold the whole stake, like the whole application and how it works. So widgets, we have different types of widgets. There are stateless widgets and stateful widgets. We will also talk about that a little bit more later. And then widgets also allows developers to have like their own feel to the app, meaning that Flutter does not hold them like to use whatever that is there. They can choose to use what is there. They can actually choose to create their own widgets. So the widgets that are available on the SDK are also flexible in a way that a developer can choose to alter them around so that it can fit their taste or their preferences. So Flutter is relatively easy to learn for especially people with zero coding background who want to build native applications. I mean, the structure is clear enough. It has a good documentation, which can be found at flutter.io. So something you can do with widgets, since they are the body of the whole app, is that a widget can have children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and so forth. So in simple words, they can be nested. It could get complicated if you nest them too much. Yeah, but it's some debugging to deal with. Okay, now Flutter runs Dart as its code behind. So Dart is Flutter's object-oriented language, which uses an AOT compilation techniques. So that means it compiles a high-level language into a low-level language before the program is executed. So this allows less work to be performed at runtime. So it compiles into native code without additional JavaScript bridge. So technically, it allows Flutter to communicate directly with the platform. So there is no middleman. It was developed by Google in October 2011. Yeah, Google likes using their own stuff. Then it has proven to be very productive. For example, by supporting a stateful hot reload for iterative development. We'll see that shortly. It is also now safe, meaning there is less room for unexpected bugs in your code. Let's see hot reload in action. Okay, so here we have a stateless widget and a stateful widget. As you saw the number moving here, it was in a stateful widget. What is a stateful widget? So a stateful widget can actually redraw itself during runtime as many times as possible. And then a stateless widget is the opposite of that. Where we would use a stateless widget is for things like app bars, icons, scaffold. Then for a stateful, use it for things like these, counting, timers, and etc. Okay, so what you see on the screen now is some popular apps which are doing well in the industry. They are actually built on Flutter. We have, for example, like Google Ads, eBay, Watermaniac, we have Alibaba. Then we have a proudly local one, Metric Live. Yeah, it's actually a South African app and it's also doing well. You can check out those apps if you want. Now, one may ask, okay, we have other frameworks like Ionic, Xamarin, Reactive, and etc. And they basically they are basically the same as Flutter. So how is Flutter different? So these are like the major takeaways for why Flutter is different. So Flutter is an SDK on its own. It doesn't depend on any external libraries. It has its own. You can use external libraries, but it has its own. It's fully packed, and then it gives developers flexible use of widgets, meaning you can create whatever you imagine using all of those widgets. Then again, does not use JavaScript bridge to access OEM widgets. Then it has extended cross-platform support, as we have seen earlier. It supports up to six platforms right now, which I think is a very good number. So it's probably going to grow more and more. This is a diagram presentation of the Flutter having its own widgets and other reactive frameworks. As you can see here, Flutter directly communicates to the canvas and events of the platform, whereas the other reactive frameworks have to go through a JavaScript bridge, then OEM widget, then they can get to the platform canvas, of which is clearly could have an impact on the performance of the app. So I could conclude and say Flutter is potentially the next giant in the mobile and desktop web application development industry. By the way, I also use Flutter. You should try it out. It's cool. Thank you so much.